Whitey Ford, Master Melvin, Robbie and McGraw, talking baseball, a Subway Series in New York.
That's right. It's time of year. It's the Subway Series in New York City tonight between the Yankees and the Mets. I always like to say there's two editions. It's the Citifield edition this week. And boy, oh boy, if the Yanks ever needed to beat up on the Mets, it's right now. They've lost 3 straight series, really in rough fashion. But personally, this series just means a lot because over the last 30 years, it feels like I've just got to know so many people. And you get that heightened sense when the man behind the mic for the Mets tonight on WCBS is one Howie Rose. And maybe you don't know if you haven't listened before, but Howie Rose and I have a connection when it comes to announcing, because of course I did play-by-play for Queens College. He was one of the first guys to ever do play-by-play for Queens College when he announced women's basketball against Immaculata and whatnot. But I had the special honor of sitting down with him in the WQMC studios about 14 years ago, so in fact, at a B Sporty event on campus. And he spent some time with me in the WQMC studios. And in his 50 years, I want to start here because what Howie Rose told me, and replaying this actually made me a little emotional, hopefully will inspire other generations of Queens College and broadcasting hopefuls. Take a listen.
Intrinsically, I find radio much more rewarding from a creative standpoint, and I think most people do.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've come to Queens College since you graduated, obviously. What's it like every time you come back here?
It's great. I get such tremendous flashbacks. In fact, I was just telling David D'Amato, whom I met at Kylie Hall, that, here it is 33 years, I guess, since I graduated, or something like that, right? Yeah, 33 years since I graduated. And Kylie Hall used to be called, back in the olden days when I was here, Academic 2. I don't know why. There was no Academic 1, but that building was called Academic 2. And it has a scent. I wouldn't call it a stench. It's not a smell. It's not an aroma. It's not anything negative. But it's amazing. I walked into that place today, and it literally transported my senses back to 1973. It was wild. So I always think when I'm back on campus of people I knew then, what I was doing then, what I aspired to do then, and what I'm doing now. And it's a very humbling experience because I think what I'm doing now even exceeds to some extent my wildest dreams back then. But I think back to how wide-eyed and how ambitious we all were back then, just as you are now. And, one of the reasons I'm here today is to convince you and anybody else, regardless of what their passion is or what their interests long-term are, that just put in the work and don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't do it, and you'll get there. You'll make it.
Interestingly enough, 7 years after that interview took place, I happen to be a member of the press for Dr. Dan Miller and the Queens Gazette, and I talked to Howie again. He actually stopped by before first pitch in the press box in 2017, and we shoot the breeze a little bit. He was finding out how I was doing in radio, and I email him time to time, and I'm probably going to email him saying congratulations on 50 years. And so to have that connection with Howie Rose, not just because I've known him from Queens, but even before that. I mean, there was a time when he would have us up in the press booth before batting, during batting practice at Shea Stadium. That's how long he and I and my dad and I have known Howie Rose. And, of course, my dad loved talking with Howie Rose whenever he got the chance. And then that same night that he stopped by the press box in 2017, I talked with Brandon Nimmo, who, yes, is obviously still a Met, and he's doing pretty good. But we talked about a former Yankee and Met, Curtis Granderson, because this was the day Granderson was actually traded from the Mets, and a young Brandon Nimmo stopped talking to me on the field at Citifield.
It's
So, Brandon, you're starting tonight. You're in the leadoff spot tonight.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a lineup without Cortes. Tell me all about that and how you feeling tonight.
We all love Cortes, but it's part of the business, and so you have to realize that. But it's something that I think we all just have to go about our business the same way. Remember how he went about his business. He was an incredible guy. He really led by example, and so just trying to keep his work ethic and his humbleness alive.
Now, you've been back up for a little while now, so what's it like being back up here, and what are you, as you said, what are you working on?
Just really having fun and swinging the bat, working on the defense. It's working on all of it. It can all be improved. I think the day that you stop working is the day you stop playing. So you just keep working on your whole game, trying to improve it all.
All right, Brandon. Well, good luck the rest of the way here.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Thank you.
That was Brandon Nimmo, and of course, he'll be in the lineup tonight. And actually, Gabby and I were at the game where he hit the game-winning hit last year against the Yankees at Citifield, and I'm sure he's hoping for that. It is funny. People talk about Grimace being the big turnaround. I look at that throwing the glove in the crowd tantrum that led to a closed-door meeting, and the Mets have really excelled since Lindor brought the crew together, and now they're one game out of a playoff spot heading into play today. For a team that was 0-5 to start the year and looking pretty bad in April, what a turnaround. Meanwhile, the Yankees, by the way, 2.5 up on the O's now, or 2 games up on the O's now. And that's fascinating, too, because they've been losing 3 straight series. They were 3-7 their last 10. And yet, here they are 2 games up because the Astros swept the Orioles right after that 17-5 drubbing of the Yankees. Baseball is funny, is it not? Now, I want to get to a couple of active players that have also joined me. In fact, you might have heard this, the NR media for playing this up and for promoting it and whatnot. And thanks to Woodbridge Brewery for making this happen. Of course, thanks to Gabby for helping us get in there as well at the Woodbridge Brewery. But yes, we had the chance to talk with one Nestor Cortes.
All right, I'm here with Nestor Cortes, starting pitcher for the Yankees. First of all, you started in the heat today. Tell us what that was like.
Yeah, well, I'm from Miami, so this is similar weather to what I'm used to. So it was hot. I was sweaty, but it was comfortable for me.
Now, obviously, you come to Woodbridge. What was today like for you, being around all these people that love you, man?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a good experience. This place looks amazing. Staff was really great to me. Just had a lot of fun overall.
All right, you guys have had a really good season so far. What do you guys got to do to take it to the next level?
Yeah, I think kind of be more consistent on what we're doing. I feel like we've been pitching and hitting great, but sometimes we've been pitching more than we'll be hitting. So I think when we glue it all together, it's going to be fun.
Cole back in the rotation really boosted. Talk about what that means to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, Garrett's one of the best pitchers in the big leagues, if not the best. He's going to out there and help us every 5 days. We're going to be happy that he's going to be on the mound and he's going to help us win games.
All right, well, thank you so much, Nestor. Nasty Nestor joining the Alex Garrett Podcast Network.
Thank you.
An interesting timing, Garrett Cole gets the ball tonight, and his first start, he was okay. He was a little shaky, but I was a little pissed that they took him out after a few innings. I mean, he only pitched 4 1/3 or whatever, and they took him out. There was a chance to keep him in there for 5, but Booney and the analytics department kept it safe. That being said, it was awesome to see Garrett Cole, and actually, in my wallet, there's a Hope Week pin that he, with that right arm of his, that right hand of his that won the Cy Young, handed me at the Today Show Plaza where I got to meet Anthony Rizzo and Volpe as well. And to be honest, I didn't want to whip out the recorder because they were about to go on air. I didn't want to really get their thoughts before they were going on air. So be it. At least I got to meet them and have that story of getting to meet Anthony Rizzo, Cole, and Anthony Volpe, who were out there in Hope Week, a great community initiative, by the way. Now, another active player I've gotten to meet and talk with was Gleyber Torres at the Thurman Munson dinner. I'm here with Gleyber Torres, of course, the Yankees phenom. Here at the Thurman Munson Awards dinner, 40th anniversary, by the way. What's it like to be here? What's it mean to you to be here tonight?
Good. Feel proud to be here. It's a great opportunity Excited to go to the spring. Can't wait to see my teammates and try to play really well.
All right, thanks, Glaber. God bless you.
You're welcome. Amen.
And so, very humble guy and a very big player on this Yankee team, as you well know. You know, you can't go without talking about Thurman Munson and not talking about the great Diana Munson, the woman who, of course, is the widow of Thurman Munson. But more importantly, she also keeps alive the legacy of Thurman through this foundation. And it was very special to get to talk to her at that event 4 years ago. What's this dinner like to you every year?
Well, first of all, I'm so proud of this dinner. It's lasted for these 40 years. They've raised over $16 million. With tonight, it's very close to $17 million. And the fact that it continues and we can remember Thurman and we do wonderful works for AHRC just means the world.
And Ray Negron has connected me to your story through Bat Boy. First of all, what was the impact that Mr. Steinbrenner has had on your lives?
Oh, Mr. Steinbrenner is responsible for everything good in our lives. He was the man. And he loves his Yankees. He loves his former Yankees. He has passed that on to his children, and the Yankee organization is number one.
And they bring you back every year, which has to be they choke up a little bit, I guess.
It's hard. It's been hard, but they don't ever forget. And I'm always part of the Yankee family, which means so much to me. So.
And Ray's continued the legacy of Thurman and George. And you guys have grown close to that as well.
Well, Ray is a special young man in our lives. He was with Thurman through the good times and the bad times, and he means a lot to us.
And as you see this dinner grow, that's got to really melt your heart every year.
It does. They told me it would only last for 2 or 3 years, and it's going strong at 40. So.
And how can people get involved if they haven't yet?
Well, the AHRC Foundation, New York City. If you just contact them, they will give you a lot of pointers on how to be involved and how to help the organization.
And that's great you're partnering with them as well. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And then, of course, on the managerial side of things, I've gotten to know Bobby Valentine over the years. When I saw him at Citifield, he was like, "Oh, you're still rolling around here?" Well, I got him and Susan Waldman at that same dinner. Take a listen. Well, it's been 20 years since Subway Series.
Yeah.
I'm talking with Bobby Valentine. Bobby, I've seen you all around the stadiums. How you doing? What's like?
Yeah, I'm always good. Thanks a lot. I can't believe it's been 20 years, and I can't believe that Susan Waldman's still here doing what she does and looking like she's only 20 years old. How does she do that?
How does she do that?
Yeah.
What's it like for both of you to be at this event tonight?
Yeah, Susan?
Well, this is something, I think it's remarkable that Thurman's been gone over 40 years, and look at this turnout. And his legacy, every time you have this dinner, and people like Bobby Valentine come out and all the giants, and it's a great event.
How about you, Bobby?
Yeah, you know, I'd have to look it up, but I might have been honored at their 20th year celebration here. And, you know, Thurman and I did a thing in 1967 when I played with him in the Cape Cod League.
Wow.
And he was a junior in college, I was a junior in high school, and he called his shot the first time I ever got in the box against him. And the next inning, he hit a ball over the left center field fence. Fact.
I believe you.
And I rode home to one of my buddies, Joe Chiappetta, and you can look it up, Chiappetta.
Okay.
And he has the letter that I sent to him from Cape Cod.
That's amazing.
To say these college kids are amazing.
Don't we miss Bobby Valentine? Yeah, we miss him
I know
every
both
day.
of you for 20 years already. And then a couple of more pieces before we're wrapped up here on the Subway Series edition of the Alex Garrett Podcast Network. You might remember Jay Horowitz. You might know Jay Horowitz or know of him. He's Mr. Met, I believe, and he wrote that book, Mr. Met. And he had a few minutes to join my podcast just a few years ago as the book was being released. And, of course, he's always been welcoming to my family and I at Citifield. Jay, thanks for joining my show, and let's replay what we talked about. All right, Jay Horowitz is who we're talking with. He's written the book Mr. Met, and obviously there is a Mr. Met at Citifield and Shea Stadium, and he's beloved just as much as you are, Jay. So I guess that's where his inspiration was the naming of the book, obviously, right? Like his inspiration.
Well, no, that was kind of a funny story how that happened. that I have, when I did this book, I was dealing at the time with the older players, and they wanted to develop see who had a current team who had a good relationship with. And that probably was Jacob DeGrom. So Jacob and I had a pretty cool relationship. When I asked him to do an interview, he would never say yes right away. He would say, Jay, I'll do the interview for you if you can come out on the field. If the phone goes to Steven Matz and myself. Or he would say, we have a little basketball net in the clubhouse. He would say, I'll do an interview for you if you make 2 baskets. And I never, again, not much of an athlete, but Jacob's always did the interviews. So the author said, you think Jacob DeGrom would help write a forward for the book? And I asked him, he very kindly did. And in the course of that interview, he said to the author, you know what? In my eyes, he's the real Mr. Met. And we got the permission to use the title for the book, and it's good. You got to remember, when Jacob came up here in 2014, he came up as a relief pitcher. He never pitched an inning in the bullpen. He pitched 7 innings against the Yankees, gives up 1 run, and the rest is history. Rookie of the Year award, 2 Cy Young, and there's no doubt in my mind he can win another Cy Young or 2. But he was kind enough to sit down and write the forward for my book, and he used the term Mr. Met, and they kind of went from there.
Well, let's talk about Jacob. Everybody talks about Wright, and we're going to get to him too, because that was a special connection too. But with Jacob, the guy is a winner. He wants to win. He pitches like he wants to win, and it's great that you have that friendship with him. Now, were you his PR person at the time when he first came up?
I came up in he came up in May of 2014, and we worked together for the Rookie of the Year award and his first Cy Young. I was with him, and the other kid, he pitched so many games where he didn't get up with a run and won 1 run and lost. He never, ever lost his composure in the interviews. He kept his cool. It was always about team. That's all he cared about. That's what separates from me from the other people. All he cares about, we can win 1-0. He's great. He doesn't care, how many runs the other team scores as long as we win. He's really just cares about the team, and that's why he's successful. He's really focused on one thing. He comes to the park, wants to win, and wants to help the team win.
Jay, I think it's important that you have this conversation with, about the book and about the team, because quite often the headlines aren't kind to the Mets, and yet there is an organization that cares, that's always there, and that message should be brought out too.
I've been told one of the things about our organization, we give back in the real puns. Fred and Jeff are probably on every hospital board or charity board in the city, and they're 2 giving people. And I go back to 9/11. What we did, for 9/11 is just remarkable. We did, and even in the current, virus crisis, we're constantly giving food to hospitals and supplies in Florida and Syracuse, where our AAA team, and St. Lucie, where our single A team is. So we're constantly giving back, and that's what makes me proud with a work for an organization like that. We understand it's more than what goes on in the field, and we really should give back to the community in a big way.
Jay, I saw that firsthand at the Henry Viscardi School. You guys always came out, and still do, to the Henry Viscardi School with Mr. Met and a few of the guys. And if you remember, in 2007, with Joe Salonica arranging it, and Jill Lee and you as well, and Iris, and we had this huge wiffle ball game for 3 innings, and Tom Glavine pitched to our kids. It was the most surreal thing you'd ever see.
Yeah, that's a great school. I'll never forget those when I used to go to the dinners with Mr. Katz, and those kids are remarkable kids, and just be a part of seeing them, what they're doing is just really remarkable, and our guys always got such a big kick out of being a part of that.
And then, of course, as I'm thinking about this, oh my God, if you missed the last time I played this, we haven't gotten the full edition of it, but a man who was part of the Subway Series World Series in 2000, and we got to see just about a month ago, join me on the stage of the Viscardi Center, one Bam-Tino Martinez.
Well, as the Yankees fans here know, it wasn't easy. And my first month here, I struggled a little bit just trying to get comfortable and to get the fans' approval and the teammates' approval. And I struggled a bit, and I heard the boos from the stadium for about a month straight. But I knew I wanted to play here in New York. I love Yankee Stadium. I love everything the Yankees stood for. And once I got comfortable and started hitting the ball, I did home runs and driving runs. And more importantly, the team started winning. Right. And then the fans started to really gravitate toward me.
Where's the difference between 25-year anniversary, 98 last year, 99 this year?
And I continued to ask him about what it was like to win those World Series, 98, 99, and 2000, and, and 96. And the man who was the PR guy behind all of this 25-year run, Rick Cerrone, did join me after Derek Jeter's induction. We talked a little bit about New York baseball and New York Yankee baseball.
The great thing about Derek, Alex, was that he always did more than was expected. That's what made him special.
And that is true. He went beyond him and above, didn't he?
Yeah, and you know that yourself. But, I'll tell you a story real quick about a young lady who was 8 years old in 2002. 9 years old, and the family wanted to bring her to spring training because her father was tragically killed on 9/11. And of course we said yes, and she wanted to meet Derek Jeter. And I told Derek, and of course he says, yeah, no problem. He knew what it was. You didn't have to remind him. So we brought her down when she arrived at Legends Field, and she's sitting in the first row of an empty ballpark next to the dugout. And I think I'm going to be the good PR guy and kind of walk over to Derek, who's on the field on his back, stretching with with those rubber bands and everything.
Yeah.
And I kind of walk so she can't see, and I say, not moving my lips, Derek, the little girl that you're going to meet is sitting over there, with the blue Yankee jacket on and the Yankee hat. So whenever you're done, that's who she is. So he can kind of acknowledge her without having to be, I don't even get 2 feet away from him, and he yells out from behind me, hey, Kate, get over here. You're late. We're stretching. Come on, let's go. She runs out on the field. They lift her over the stand. She runs out. She goes, get down here. And he gives her the rubber band. And now, hey, this is Mariano, and this is Roger, this is Jorge, and it was an unbelievable experience. And then he sits with her and he talks to her, and he says to her, do you go to Yankee games? Oh, yeah, I go all the time, and start kind of tearing up because she went with her dad. And he goes, well, listen, I don't want you to ever come to a Yankee game and not let me know you're there. So you tell Mr. Cerrone here when you're coming, and he'll let me know, and I'll know you're there, and I'll try to see you if I can. And, that's what happened. And other people did what was expected. He always did more than was expected.
That had to be making your job easy in a way as a PR manager for the best franchise in the world.
Well, yeah, because other people, there were others that were a little higher maintenance, so you could even out a little bit. But I'll tell you a funny thing, Alex. People ask me all the time when they know you worked with the Yankees at that time, tell me about Derek Jeter. And I would kid and I'd say, well, he really had no use for me. And they say, whoa, you didn't get along with him? I said, no, we got along great. We were friends, but he didn't need the services of what I did. He never really needed my counsel. He never needed me to remind him. I mean, that was kind of a funny thing because, a guy is doing the Sunday conversation, in the visitors, the football locker room at the Metrodome in Minnesota at 3:00. Well, you put a reminder there. You call the guy at the hotel, leave him a message. You didn't need to do that with Derek, and he didn't want you to do that. I mean, he was so responsible. Alex, think about it. I'm the PR director of the Yankees, and one of my players is Derek Jeter. Does it get better than that?
Well, do you miss it now? Do you wish you were back here now that he's back in the Hall, or what's life been like for you after the Yankees?
Well, no. You miss certain things about it. But I'm the editor-in-chief of Baseball Digest. How great is that?
That's amazing.
I went from one dream job. When I was a kid and I was in high school, I told my high school guidance counselor when he asked me, what do you see yourself doing when you're a grown-up? Because I was literally flunking out of school. And I said, well, that's easy. I'm the public relations director of the New York Yankees. I mean, that was my dream since I was like 14. But if he had said to me, Okay, well, let's just say, what's your fallback plan? What's the second thing you'd want to be? I might have said to him, I'm the editor of Baseball Digest.
And so to have this collection of interviews means a lot, and I am so thankful to all of those. Howie mentioned Dave D'Amato, Sarah Kahn for making that Howie Rose interview happen, Jay Horowitz for coming on the show, Rick Cerrone, Dr. Dan Miller, when he was on WVOX, scoring me that press pass to talk with Brandon Nimmo, and Wilmer Flores. Actually, I got to find that as well. And of course, Ray Negron.
You actually helped to educate George Steinbrenner, and you have no idea how, do you?
I don't.
When he first met you, and you were a young boy, he saw you with one leg, and he said to himself, and later to me, this poor boy, he has a handicap. Let's be good to him. He found out that you were stronger than most. You felt like, hey, I can be here. I can do here. I don't have to be ashamed that I only have one leg. I mean, I cry right now because you may have given him his strongest education.
All of these pieces have fallen into place so far, and of course to Gabby for coming with me in recent years to different events as well, and of course to meet Nestor on Sunday. And all together here, we're still growing this show. We're growing this podcast. And what Howie Rose said earlier in the show is, we're on this path, and I'm excited to be on it, and I'm excited to grow more in the sports media world. And of course, thanks to NR Media, Anna, Jake, and the Bronx Zoo for encouraging me every step of the way, and of course, my family for always being there as well. Subway Series has basically been in my blood since I was 6 months old, and so when it ever rolls around, it means a hell of a lot more. And we miss you, Pop, and I know you're looking down on us, and thanks for taking me to all those games. And of course, we remember walking the Shea Stadium left field line when Derek Jeter hit that leadoff homer against the Mets in 2000. We also were there in 2001 when Piazza hit that late innings, 8th inning homer against the Braves, the first game back after 9/11. So we've been there for some very special moments. And, of course, Mr. Steinbrenner welcoming us, and the Steinbrenner family always being welcoming into that stadium. Even today, it's been a blessing. Well, enjoy the Subway Series. Don't get too rowdy. Who am I kidding? It's New York. Of course, you're going to get rowdy at Yankees at Citifield. And we'll see how it goes. Lou Terminello and Terminello's Take will come up later today on the Alex Garrett Podcast Network.